Broadcasting live from the legendary studios of Canton's own 1480 WHBC. Canton's Morning News.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're back live with Pam Cook and Gary Rivers.
It's 20 minutes after 9 o'clock on News Talk 1480 WHBC. We're about set to talk with financial strategist Kyle Walters about the Dow. An historic mark yesterday, hitting the 20,000 mark. What's that all about? How it got there? Why it's there? That's what we hope to find out with Kyle Walters. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so the obvious question, is it the Trump effect? We have to know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what everyone's asking, right?
That's right. Well, one thing we could say is Trump is in office when the Dow hit 20,000. So that's the extent of the Trump effect, and I guess we nailed it, right? But that's about as far as that goes. Everything else, the Dow 20,000 just became a number, and who was president when that number hit.
All right, well, then why did it go? Because it started its historic rise, or is it just that it became a number we started looking at around the time of the transition of the two governments?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, right, everybody's looking for the next benchmark, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote an article called The Dow 20,000 6 weeks ago. And why is that relevant? Well, just because it was close, and that's what people wanted to talk about. Now, does that impact the underlying companies and how it works with your investment plan? Not really. It just happens to be the next round number, so that makes for a great conversation.
All right, well, and maybe let's backtrack for just a second and say, what is the Dow? Because it's not a huge number of companies. You're talking about 30 stocks, right?
That's right. It's a great point, Gary. The Dow is, it's one of those numbers that people look at a lot, but how relevant is it for most individuals, right? So you're exactly right. It's 30 stocks, and the total stock market is thousands upon thousands of stocks. So you go, okay, we're talking about a really small sliver of a really large market. How much emotional energy, as an investor, how much emotional energy and stress should we really be putting into this number?
All right, so it's at the 20,000 mark. What's your prediction for the next couple of weeks? Is it going to continue moving forward? Will it drop below 20,000 anytime soon?
Yeah, so what I tell clients is when it comes to predicting the stock market over the short term, I say never listen to anybody that's not making the prediction from their private island. This is not something that people can do. Here's the deal, though. The stock market's either going to go up or down. And if you scroll watch TV, any station, they're going to have people on both sides. So, the deal is when you're making any sort of investment plan and you're looking to make a move, you're going to win if you know something that the rest of the market does not, which is extremely difficult to do.
Okay, so you're not going to give me any stock tips personally then while we're doing this, what you're trying to say.
That's right, that's what I'm going to say.
I was hoping a little insider.
How does this compare to past elections? I mean, when obviously the milestone wasn't reached, but I mean, up, down, what's it look like compared to other presidential elections?
Yeah, it's not really, this isn't, and again, you can go back to history, and what history shows is it's not necessarily who gets elected, it's the uncertainty around the election. So, we had some conversations right before the election, and as soon as they announced the Trump presidency, if y'all will remember, the futures market went through the floor. It dropped by a ton. Now, what happened was Trump came out, he started talking, saying, hey, unified nation, all of this, and uncertainty started to go away, and then the market started ripping and roaring. So it wasn't necessarily about Trump, it was about the uncertainty that exists in the market. Once that starts to go away and people can say, okay, I can start seeing clearly, or I think I can start seeing clearly what the future may hold, the market makes more sense to me.
Right, and it's not just the presidency speaking or being in office that causes stocks to rise and fall. A lot of it is emotional, isn't it, though?
That's right. I mean, investors individually don't typically make great decisions when emotions are involved. So, this isn't necessarily about the presidency. This is just about economics, and the stock market historically over extended periods of time goes up, right? That's just standard economics.
Okay, so where we're at now, we're at 20,000. We don't know where it's going to go, but at this point it seems to be on an upsurge, and we probably will see that continuing for some time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I love Warren Buffett, right? I think he's always gets great advice and great context. And he said, hey, look, if we're talking about long-term investing, right? So not anything where you're going to need the money anytime soon. But he says the best time to invest the money is when you've got it. So, I mean, that's pretty easy advice. And the good news is, the ups and the downs, if you're taking advantage of things like your retirement plan and you're contributing on a regular basis, the ups and downs are actually a good thing for you because you're able to buy more when the market goes down.
Got it. So it doesn't matter. In the end, hopefully you end up on top and you don't have a stock market crash the day you announce your retirement.
That's exactly right.
All right.
That's not ideal.
Guess not. That'll be my luck. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate your information. Kyle Walters, financial strategist on the Dow hitting 20,000. Have a good day.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks, Pam.
I like the morning show because it tells me what's going on in the news.
Pam Cook and Gary Rivers. Canton's Morning News. News Talk 1480 WHBC and at WHBC.com.